For the first time in 46 years, the best of the best in the Sports Car Club of America return to the West Coast for the club's annual one-race battle for the title of champion in 27 classes. This year's three-day duel for the medals brings over 400 racers to California's Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca on the stunning Monterey Peninsula. It's time to seriously step up at the 2014 and 51st SCCA National Championship Runoffs. And welcome everybody. It is time to conclude our little bit of pre-race. We are going racing. It is the 2014 SCCA National Championship Runoffs at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca. The second of our national championships about to unfold. An interesting category. It's GT Lite. For more on that, let's get down to the pits with Hayward Wagner.
For years and years, SCCA offered GT4 and GT5. Those now combined into GT Lite. These are tube frame, small bore, high strung, real race cars out on track. We've got manufacturers from Mini all the way to Nissan, Datsuns, all kinds of mix in this class.
It is. It's an absolutely fantastic class, and it's actually a mix of two previous classes, wasn't it?
Yeah, Hayward said that before. It was the GT4 category and the GT5 category. This is the sort of the small subcompact GT categories. Tube frame cars, there's some unibody cars in there as well. We see some of the MG Sprites, the Volkswagen Rabbits, but on the pole, Joe Huffaker in his Mini Cooper. That's a tube frame car. They take the motor, it's moved back a little bit, you flip it, you make it rear-wheel drive, a full proper race car. Yeah, that is a wicked trick Mini is the only way to put it. He's wheeled it to great success before. Hasn't done a lot of racing in the last couple of years, and decided when he heard that the Runoffs were coming back out here, of course, he and his shop based up in Petaluma, he went, better knock some rust off because this is an opportunity here. Right back on pole. He's a 12-time pole sitter at the Runoff across all the classes that he's run. 8-time national champ in F-Prod in GT5 where that Mini ran before. Just mega accomplished. And the one thing you know when you see a car that has that Huffaker Racing, Huffaker Engineering on the side, it is as well prepped and turned out as you can get. So as a driver, that's a little scary to me because you got no excuse. You know the car is capable. Yeah, absolutely. This is actually now with the pole here this weekend. That makes it his 13th career pole. He's second of all time next to Jerry Hansen, who has 25 poles at Runoffs. So that tells you the experience and how dominant Huffaker has been, both in that Mini and his old F production Triumph.
Absolutely, and he ran a pretty good lap. His best lap was the first qualifying session on Tuesday at a 140.138. A little bit clearer the rest of the field by a little over half a second. Second spot 38, James Hargrove out of Surrey, British Columbia, runs out of the Oregon region in his Race Energy Honda Civic. Third, 22, Joshua Serino out of Tulsa, Oklahoma in the Race Shop Midget. And fourth, 88, Troy Emish out of Tracy, California, the Datsun 510 part outlet Nissan 510. And then Peter Shadowin in the Road to Race Flat Top Brewing Honda CRX. This is a guy who is pretty good at in 2010 won the national championship from pole, and always is an absolute contender without question.
Yeah, he sure is. And James Hargrove, he had a huge crash in this car at the double major event in Seattle. Had to rent a car to qualify for the Runoffs. They just got this car rebuilt. It's untested. He's had 3 days of running here. See if that car can maybe clinch a GT Lite championship after getting it fully rebuilt.
And we're about to find out as GT Lite, the race to the gold, is underway. Oh, and Huffaker got absolutely hopped. James Hargrove timed that to perfection, ramped around the outside, and Huffaker got absolutely swallowed up. The number 22 of Serino down to the inside, Jeff. The question is, can he get it? Look at that Datsun to the outside. Okay, Nissan. But it's a Datsun 510. Great attempt around the outside.
Yeah, Troy Ermish getting a great run, just took his foot into the outside. Joe Huffaker recovering back up to the second. A little sideways back there for that Nissan Sentra. But that Datsun 510 of Ermish on the inside of James Hargrove, side by side down into turn number 4.
Huffaker able to slot now back into third, and he is through. The number 88 of Ermish picks up the lead. Look at Huffaker trying to get down, and we've got a car off. The number 44, big spin for John Bauer. It's like oh, look at this, 3 abreast almost, and Huffaker trying to sweep the outside, gets around Hargrove. Now he is just going to try and set sail and try and run down Troy Ermish.
And there's the Serrano brothers nose to tail coming up to turn number 6. That's Nigel and Joshua trying to get battling over James Hargrove. Maybe those two guys can hook up and try to make a run down to the end. Down to the inside, 2 wheels off in the dirt.
Oh, that was a big squeeze play, and they're still playing the squeeze play. Clearly, Hargrove not wanting to let that car through and finally just decides to tuck in. But that guy he's going to be somebody. He's already all over the back once again. That's Nigel Serino. Been watching him, and now he's going to try. He's got to the inside, but that's the outside at 10. Nigel has been very fast the entire event here. I worked corners the first 3 days, and he's just was a joy to watch working through this track.
And down to the inside here, trying to make a run over James Hargrove. Watch that Mazda Miata on the outside. I believe that's Jonathan Gottel. And that 04 Miata, one of the newer body cars. Oh, and there's damage now to Nigel's car. You see the tire rub from that left front. That's that battling back and forth.
Yeah. That's a bit of a look here we're going to be having. I'm sure the officials will be taking a look at that as well. Jonathan Goodale, by the way, is one of the drivers, the first one that we've had today that is super sweep eligible, and that's a monster achievement if you get it. Oh no, but there is a look at the 57 Nigel Serino. He is struggling right now, but for them, the number 22 of Joshua Serino having himself a very good day. Somebody else off at the exit at 3. That's a corner you see that a lot, don't you? Just dropping the wheels and just dusting the track up.
Yeah, it's totally flat there, no elevation whatsoever, limited grip. You really got to plant your car in the brakes, put the weight on the nose, get the car to turn, and if you miss that, you slide off to the side. And I got to say that Mazda, I called it a Miata, but Jonathan Goodall, that's actually a Mazda MX-5, so even a lot newer car than some of these old, like that Datsun 510 sitting there from Troy Ermish leading this group.
Well, and you know what, as we're watching this battle unfold, back in the order just a little bit right now is Kent Prather. And of course, anybody who's been watching the Runoffs for a lot of years knows the name Prather. His son, Jesse, right now is one of the top prep guys of Mazdas in the country for SCCA Club Racing. But the story here is Kent Prather is running a car that has won 5 national championships in 3 different classes. Before it became a race car, it had 319,000 miles on it as a road car. Then they converted it into a race car. It is one of the great stories here this weekend. It'll be interesting to see just where he's going to be able to bring it up and run it. A multiple national champion, one of the real legends, I think, in SCCA National Runoffs competition.
Yes, right there in Huffaker, you see that. We talk about legends, 13 poles, multiple national championship wins, both in F Production and GT Lite. As Troy Ermish runs a little wide there on the exit of the Andretti hairpin, you allow Joe Huffaker to close right in. Hargrove, don't leave him out. He's back there in 3rd.
Yeah, with Joe Huffaker behind you, you cannot make mistakes. And he will be absolutely relentless. And Ermish, boy, look at that. That's where that car went off. And now all that Monterey Bay area dust just gathers into that curbing, and it just blows up as they come by. So now Ermish, you can see it, just staying out there a little bit in case he needed to defend into turn 5. Huffaker just stayed out, so allowed Ermish to swing back and make the run up the hill. But Ermish now, it's going to get real interesting.
Yeah, it sure was. Joe Huffaker, you got to think it's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when it's going to happen, as Joe Huffaker closing that gap a little bit. Ermish got a great run out of turn number 6 up the hill. A little bigger displacement in the 510 over the Mini, so got a little bit more torque and power coming up the hill, but that Mini sure can handle in the corner.
Absolutely. So really, I mean, what Ermish needs to do, if he has the opportunity here, if Huffaker gets close, Ermish wants to slow Huffaker down, take that speed away, use the torque of that, and Huffaker running almost 4/10 faster as he just ran down Ermish, and also going very, very quickly in that last sector of the track, setting the fastest time thus far in doing so. So the pressure clearly is on. Hargrove still 3rd. Joshua Serino in that MG Midget is 4th. Normally you would see an MG Midget in the prod classes, but with the regulations the way they are in GT, all of the GT classes, which of course includes GT Lite, you see the wing on the back of that MG. Well, that's not going to fly in prod, and that's some of the things you can do. These are much more prepped in terms of being race cars, and I think Josh is really enjoying having that midget with a little bit extra stick at the back.
Yeah, it sure is, but boy, look at these Nissan 510 here going leading this group, and I love those wide bodies on those old 510s. They look so good, and that's one of those cars you see under that Nissan canopy and that Nissan tint there, and Nissan over Mini right now in our GT Lite category.
And I mean, Nissan over Mini, over Hargrove in the Honda Civic, over the MG, which by the way just set fast lap of the race thus far. for that number 22. And you can see he is really starting to close back in again on Hargrove. And of course, that's that spot, the battle for the last podium spot here. Hargrove has third.
Yeah, down into the 140s, the only car so far in the series, in the race so far to be in the 140s. A 140.1 was the pole. He just did a 140.7, so that tells you how fast he's going at a race pace.
Well, that's the second fastest lap turned this event in this class. That's quicker than the second guy Hargrove qualified. So clearly the Sereno boys have figured something out with that car, because it is just coming live to the point now he is there. He might even make a move, will he? No, not this time, down into turn 11. But this is now a absolute on battle for that final podium spot. And it looked as well that we may have had a move by Huffaker trying to figure out a way to slip by Ermisch. Couldn't quite get it done, but Huffaker certainly is going after it. Watching Joe, he comes out of 11 sometimes, and he uses up an immense amount of racetrack.
Yeah, he sure does. They're onto the braking zone, though. That lighter, more agile Mini Cooper out to the outside, had to check up a little bit quick there, bounced it to the outside. Now, I said before, it's not a matter of if, it looks like a matter of when, but boy, Troy Ermisch doing a great job putting Joe Huffaker at bay currently.
Boy, Joe gets into two so deep, but I think he just ran up on the bag and went, whoa, this is a little bit much. But that's a good indicator for Joe. Obviously goes, well, I've got brakes. If I can do that down to the inside, that's going to pay big dividends, as the brother Nigel Sereno down into the pits, hood is off, problems on that car.
Yeah, perhaps that smoke was more than a tire rub and maybe be coming from that engine. Unfortunate for him.
There's your leader up through that very tricky turn 6. Well, he gets through there well, and as you said, that car's got a little bit more torque, so it just hauls up that hill a little bit more effectively. But now, up into the corkscrew, and Huffaker, you can see just there's a little bit of compression into a corner under the brakes anyway, but he comes out just that much closer.
Yeah, right there. Oh, he gets to try to get a good run down through turn number 8 into the braking zone of 9. This is where the Mini Cooper should shine in the handling parts of this, that more agile, shorter wheelbase car. But boy, that torque and grunt out of this Nissan 510 of Ermisch. And he knows his way around here. You're looking at two locals that have thousands of laps around this track.
Well, you can see the difference there going in and through turn 10. You can see the back end of Ermisch in that 510 stepping out just a little bit. Huffaker on rails in that Mini, and that's something you got to be concerned about, because you throw that car around too much. And I'm talking about Ermisch in that 510. You start to overheat those rears. Obviously you're just going to go slower and slower, and Huffaker will be right there. And it looks now like Hargrove is able to gap Sereno just a little bit.
Yeah, tell you about the lap times here amongst all these guys. Ermisch goes at a 140.900. Joe Huffaker comes out at a 140.870. Hargrove at a 140.866. And Serrano at a 140.829. He's the quickest car out of this 4 group, only by about 60 hundredths of a second.
Boy, it's incredibly close. And this has become a popular class. I mean, in terms of entry numbers now, it's one of the largest in the GT divisions, GT1, 2, 3, and GTL. And woo, big loose moment there. That's that turn 6 I was telling you about. And you overdo it just a little bit. And he got that back end, Ermisch did, skipping out on him, but was able to hang on to it. Really didn't lose too much up the hill, but it just goes to show that he is definitely feeling the heat right now.
Yeah, he sure is. Didn't lose much, but that's where he shines coming up that hill. He's going to be under more attack from Joe Huffaker coming down through turn 8, 9, and 10 complex.
And it is just phenomenal. And there it is again. You can see that back end really swinging around. And Ermisch able to hang on to it, but you've just got to think at some point, I mean, wouldn't you think Huffaker's just going to try and force the issue a little bit? Yeah,
but you see that car bottoming out a lot of sparks coming from the back of that Mini Cooper. Not sure if that's going to play a factor. You might wear out some bolts, or not sure where those sparks are coming from. We'll have to watch out for that as well.
Yeah, it sits low, no question about that, trying to keep the air out from underneath that thing. And I love what he's doing there. He goes in really wide. But the problem is that I think right now, if Ermisch may be hanging Joe up just a little bit, and guess who's coming? Hargrove closing up. That margin is shrinking in a big hurry right now.
Yeah, and Hargrove just sets fastest race lap at a 140.446, pushing as hard as he can. That's only 0.3 of a second away from the pole time from Joel Huffaker. So Hargrove got the battling back for this car, got this car rebuilt, and that's kind of a real good reward for the crew, all the hard work they did trying to get this car ready for the runoffs.
Well, it's interesting. You'll see that at the runoffs every once in a while, especially here. You know, you talked about it. The fact that the curbs are so low, the gravel is so close, you drag stuff up onto the track, then cars will spin, they'll get off, they'll get stuck. During the week leading up to the race, you get a lot of black flags. Oh, Huffaker maybe taking a look. We'll see, did he get it executed? He did! New leader, GT Lite Joe Huffaker underneath Ermish, down into the corkscrew, and it looked like Hargrove, maybe a little target fixation there, ran it a little wide.
They probably saw that and went, oh, here's my chance, and then a little late braking there through the corkscrew, tried to do a Zanardi move, but there was nobody to pass.
Boy, there are those sparks once again that you're absolutely right. He is throwing them up, Huffaker is. What I was saying is they say during the week leading up in the qualifying sessions, like you get a lot of black flags that interrupt rhythm. You may be on, okay, this is the lap. I finally got some clear track. It's gone. In the races the first time, sometimes you get to really string laps together, and you'll oftentimes see guys run faster in the race than they qualify.
Yeah, it's great. It's always a battle. You make changes. The crews try to help. The temperatures are a little bit cooler than maybe you run in your qualifying session. The car's at its peak. Troy Ermish got a good run down through turn number 1. Huffaker pulled a little bit of a gap, but Ermish in that Nissan 510 pulls right back on that back bumper of Huffaker, but in this flat part of Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca, turn 3, turn 4, you really see that Huffaker Engineering Mini Cooper pull away a little bit and starting to gap now. We said it wasn't a matter of when, but it was if. It happened, and now here he goes.
That little thing runs like a slot car. I mean, it is just absolutely hooked up.
Well, it's the same size.
Well, exactly. Hargrove, after that little bit of a bobble now, he has got Sereno all over him for that third spot. Here they come up the hill, but I'm noticing a bit of smoke every time. I think it's just body rub. Every time Sereno goes through turn 5, let's see about if we stay with the shot through turn 6, and we're going to follow these guys up. There's a little bit of smoke that comes out that car. I think it might just be body rub, but oh, look at this. He got a great run out of 6. He's on the outside, and he's through. We have a new third place, and it is Joshua Sereno in the race shop. Kelly Engines, MG Midgets is through.
Yeah, recovering from the start. That's not rub there. That's got to be smoke from an upshift or a downshift, and it's starting to heavily smoke now. We'll see. We'll have to start watching out.
Yeah, he's got it from both sides. Yeah, that is an issue, and yeah, it might be a axle seal, perhaps. You know, you start to lose the fluid a little bit.
Yeah, these MGs have a big problem with axle seals, so they really got to get that. But 18 years old is Joshua Serrano, trying to salvage the thing here. His dad, a multinational champion, and the Sereno brothers doing a great job here. His brother, unfortunately, already out of the race. Hopefully, we don't get both of them out.
Yeah, I mean, he has driven a superb race, this young man has, but there's that smoke once again. You start leaning on those corners, the centrifugal, if it is an axle seal, he starts throwing the axle grease, just like that, up against those brake rotors in the leg, and it just starts burning it up. So that may be what we're watching, but you know, until it goes, it's fat. Yeah, you can see it spooling up inside of the wheel. That's a sign of that. It's a matter of how much and how good that grease is.
Yeah, it sure is, and it's one of those, hey, this is the national championships. Run it till it breaks. If they let you run and you're not dropping any fluids on the track, you just burn it up, go right to the end. 12 laps to go.
You got a lot of off-season to be able to fix that baby and bring it back. This is, and you know, especially you're in medal contention, you're going to go. There's no question about it.
And he's starting to close in a little bit on Troy Ermish. He was about 0.2 of a second quicker that prior lap.
So as we continue to watch the battle for the medals in GT Lite, we're going to step away from Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca for just a minute. Stay with us. I have a feeling this one could get a little bit more interesting. The 2014 SCCA National Championship Runoffs are being brought to you in HD by Mazda. Conviction, creativity, courage. This is the Mazda way. And by Hankook, driving emotion.
Some people go to enormous lengths in the name of safety, like the inventor of the flame-resistant racing suit, Bill Simpson. Courageous engineering is also the Mazda way, and why the 2014 Mazda 3 has an available class-exclusive suite of 8 safety features and a top safety rating. Because when it comes to safety, you can never go too far. This is the 2014 Mazda 3. What do you drive?
This is Kenny, Kenny is a dentist, but he races autocross on the weekends. But he's not thinking about his tires right now. Kenny buys all his tires from TireRack.com. Using their exclusive test track reviews, he knows he's always getting the right tires for his car. But Kenny's not thinking about tires right now. Kenny's thinking, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man. This is awesome. TireRack.com, proud sponsor of the Tire Rack SCCA National Solo Program.
The machines and their manufacturers span the planet. This is no spec series. Diversity breeds excellence and brings battle. Ride with the best and test the iconic circuits of North America. No pit stops, no quarter. The world watches and knows this is how racing should be.
National Championship battle in GT Lite continues here at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca, brought to you in HD by Mazda. And you can see we've got one of our cars off there. Jeff, is that the exit of turn 10?
Yeah, right there in turn 10 to driver's left. It's just going to be a local yellow. The San Francisco region SCCA crew, probably by far one of the best crews out of all of the SCCA regions here, able to get that car moved. And I think that's Craig Carter from Long Beach, California, in his Nissan Sentra off to driver's left. Looked like he probably got in there just a little bit too hot, spun off to the side.
And there is your leader, Joe Huffaker, still leading and hanging on. But look at that. It is Sereno has gone around Ermish and picked up second spot. That car, smoke and all, is absolutely flying right now. The Race Shop MG Midget. The question is, how long will that smoke last? We just had a report from one of our stats guys that earlier in the season, a driver said, I was behind that guy for 10 laps before I just gave up and said, I can't breathe this stuff anymore. So apparently that will hang in there for a little bit. That's what he's hoping. In fourth right now, behind this trio, is James Hargrove in the number 38. Then it is the number 04, the guy in this race, Jonathan Goodale, who is Super Sweep eligible, but he's sitting in fifth right now. You got to win or you're not. In sixth is Peter Shadowin, former national champion, in the number 72. Seventh, the 45 of Pete Zeckert. Eighth, the number 26 of Kent Prather we talked about in that car with what, after all the racing laps now? Let's just round up and say 350,000 miles on it. Ninth, number 73, Chris Dudson. And rounding out your top 10, the 61 of Noel Hayward. So that's your top 10 in GT Lite. We have a look at this battle. That's the 38 of Hargrove and the 04 of Goodale for sixth. And not far behind them is 45 Zeckert.
Yeah, side by side, that Mazda MX-5 right down to the inside. And remember,
nice.
That 04 Mazda MX-5 of Jonathan Goodall is not over yet as the CRX goes back to the side. But that driver from Conifer, Colorado actually has the chance at the super sweep if he can somehow manage to get up to the win and get that super sweep that you alluded to earlier.
Yeah, but Peter Shadowin making sure that's going to be a difficult challenge. What a nice mover on the outside of the corkscrew when he got the pressure to just keep that car in check of Goodale. But look at Zeckert coming with a big head of steam down into turn 11.
Yeah, and watch out for that car because that guy's got a lot of laps around this track. He's from Missouri, but he says he's been out here quite a bit, got a good chance to come down there and check out that Toyota a little bit earlier. And he said that he's been out here, used to live here, so ran here quite a bit and was looking for good things here.
And get a report now that James Hargrove has faded. Not sure where he was. He was running very strongly in the top three. Hayward, what are you hearing?
Standing here on pit road, I'm looking up those pit lane. James Hargrove's car's pulled off. He pulled off right in front of the flag stand and backed it into the pit lane. He is done.
Oh, tough break for a guy who was seriously in contention for one of the medals here. And the good news is for Sereno and Emish, that does give them a little bit of pad, obviously. But I have a feeling that Shadowin and the Goodale and Pete Zeckert are going to be chomping at the bit here as they make that climb out of 5 up towards 6.
Yeah, it's good to see it. How about that? A Honda CRX, and I believe that is I'm not sure, that could be a unibodied car that goes into the GTL category. The Mazda MX-5 behind that, I'm pretty sure that's a unibodied car with a cage. But then you have that Nissan 200 SER behind that. It's a tube frame car with a fiberglass body. So the MX-5 is a tube frame car. We're getting word so good from that. So kind of different variety and layouts here at the GTL.
Well, that's the interesting thing about this class is you can make the, build a tube frame and drop the silhouette body on it, or you can take, as you said, a unibody production car, and you're allowed extensive modifications that allow you to get up there and race. And it's not, like I said, no matter what you own, there's probably a place in the Sports Car Club of America where you can race it with some tweaks. And what you often see, like we've seen, you'll see a prod car, make the move into a GT. Just neat little scenarios like that. We've got some guys that have run ITS. The IT division isn't a national championship, but you can take that car, minor tweaks, run it either in prod, run it in GT. That's what's very cool about this is you've got an opportunity to get out there and race. Problem is sometimes you got to race a guy named Huffaker.
Yeah.
And that, as we said, one well-turned-out car.
Well, yeah, you talk about modifications, what you can do. Here you start with a blank piece of paper and a big chassis plate, and you take the motor, you spin it around, you extend the wheelbase, you put the rear-wheel drive instead of front-wheel drive. I don't think there's much more you can change on a little Mini Cooper than what Huffaker Engineering has done. And there's those sparks again, still dragging it as a great battle here between the number 26 and number 73 Honda versus the Mazda Kent Prather. And
yeah, those guys, that's that car we've been talking about with all the miles on it, and all it does is win.
Yeah, great job from Ken Prather, that number 26 Mazda Miata. And that is a unibodied car that's been modified up, like you mentioned, 300,000 pampered highway miles.
Yeah. Exactly, and still flying. And you love to see that. Then the 73 of Chris Dootson from Port Coquitlam, British Columbia. That's the Hasport, Hoosier, and TNT Auto Parts Honda Civic. And these guys putting on a good show. A little bit farther back in the order right now. That is for 7th.
Just a great run coming down here in through the corkscrew, out of 8 into turn number 9.
Well, unfortunately, Hayward had reported earlier the problems for James Hargrove. He has now found the driver.
James Hargrove pulling off on the front straightaway. James, can you tell us what happened with the car?
The engine just started to miss really badly between turns 10 and 11. I thought about coming into the pits, and I thought I'll just run it up the front straightaway and just see if it'll clear up, but nothing. It's just got worse and worse, so I pulled off in a safe place.
So unfortunately, one of our runners for the championship out after a couple of laps. How's the track been? Grip good? Everything good?
It seemed to be not as much grip as the other days, so yeah, definitely we were sliding around a lot out there. There's no question, but yeah, it was raceable for sure. It's the same for everybody.
All right, thank you, James.
Oh boy, Peter Shadowin has gone around Haywood. That is the guy who was running up in 3rd, and a huge off over there. That's the gravel doing its job, stopping him from getting any farther. And we also have another, the Minis, having a problem. That is struggling right now as well.
Yeah, Ted Phoenix right there in turn number 5. Looks like he's spun there. It looks like you see a bunch of little 360 donuts there leading up to that. Looks like he got lucky to get away from that one.
And meanwhile, they're down to the inside, the 0-3. Chris Copley having a great run in that Mini. They're having their own good scrap that unfolds. And this is, again, one of those stories where, you look around and there's going to be some great racing unfolding everywhere on the track. Copley, Bauer, and the issue. And looks like we have that number 22 of Joshua Serino now is plummeting down the order. And I wonder if finally those axle seals let go. And I wonder if maybe they didn't deposit something on the track when they went.
Yeah, I was going to say, if they popped out there, that could be the issues that we've had with the fluid down on there. Not sure if that's gear oil or if there's people having problems. But that was a great battle you mentioned there between Ted Phoenix and Bauer. And it looks like that was Joe Harlan, that number 46 Nissan Sentra SCR, slotted in between those two drivers.
Now Huffaker, such is his pace, he's starting to catch some traffic. That was the car that was off over at the exit of 10 is regained, so that's why that car is so far back in the order. But now Huffaker's got to deal with that traffic. Nice thing for him is he's got a pretty substantial margin. He can be pretty patient when he does so.
Yeah, and there's the wounded Mini of, be careful there, Ted Phoenix looking to the inside.
Threading the needle right there is Huffaker. And, that's that blind approach, and you suddenly see it there. That'll be a heart-in-the-throat moment.
Yeah, just getting word that Joshua Serrano was parked up at the hill, so that car definitely out of the event.
Oh, it's a tough break. There he is, Josh Serino, and has pulled off again. And you also heard of James Hargrove. He made a point of pulling off in a safe spot. This is club racing. These guys, they get it. And if they pull off in a spot that causes a full course caution, they're just robbing their competitors, their friends, of an opportunity to go racing. But as I say that, a full course yellow does come out, and I think this one might just be a numbers scenario. There's too many cars off in various areas of the track. that are in questionable areas. And this is all part and parcel. Yes, the stewards are making the ultimate call, but they rely heavily on the captain at each one of the corners that will look and go, this guy's in an impact zone. This is not a good place to leave this guy. And so that is a large reason sometimes that we'll see that trigger pulled. And we are now under full course caution as we have 14. So we're coming up on almost having 2 or 3 quarters of this race wrapped up.
That
Hopefully
was
this will be a quick caution, Jeff.
Good luck from Joe Huffaker there, putting that number 31 Nissan of Craig Carter in between himself and Troy Ermish, because that was going to be a huge deal for Ermish. A yellow flag, be able to close right on that back bumper of Huffaker, but now he's got that lap car in between.
Well, and on the restart, we saw what happened. That that little Mini, it once it's got the momentum going, it's fast. But on that launch, that 88 of Ermish, we saw the power and the torque. That restart would have been huge. So Huffaker, yeah, that was a gift, huh?
Yeah, it sure was. And I got to think that this yellow was more for that number 72 Honda CRX of Peter Schouten, stuck there in that gravel trap. That was an impact zone there in turn number 3. One of those sketchy corners you got to be careful with.
Well, exactly. You need to, be very mindful of safety always. That is a huge concern. So let's find out any new news developing down at pit lane. Hayward?
Talked briefly with Joe Huffaker's team. What you're talking about, spot on. They're a little concerned that the Nissan has a little bit more to pull up the hill here at the start. Interestingly, Joe doesn't want to have any contact during the race. There's no radio communication between he and the crew, so he's on his own out there strategizing.
Oh, okay. Well, that's interesting. Obviously, that's those moments when you come up on traffic suddenly. It's nice to have that crew that's able to, help you a little bit with the spotting on that. There is that number 72 that they're trying to get pulled off the track of Peter Schouten. That is unfortunate. The other thing for the number 88, with that car, we've seen that car, the back end swinging around. He pushes it so hard. Those tires got overheated. This is the shot to cool those tires off, bring that car back to him just a little bit perhaps.
Yeah, sure is. Unfortunately, you got Joe Huffaker in front, so strategy is, I think he's already thought about all that. Great run from all these GTL drivers. It's been one of the, only the second national championship race we've had so far here today, but I got to give a good shout out to the guy in 3rd place. How about Jonathan Goodall?
I was just going to say,
trying to get that super sweep. He may be the dark horse sleeper. If Ermish and Huffaker get side by side and battle a little bit, he might be able to sneak in there and clinch that super sweep.
Absolutely. It was interesting. This class last year had the closest ever margin of victory finish ever in the runoffs at that point, 7 1,000ths of a second. Now, Joe Huffaker wasn't such a player either, but it was amazingly close. Certainly didn't have that opportunity here until this caution. Now we'll see how this is all going to play out, and we're going to find out because Lite's out in the pace car. We are going to be going back to green with 5 laps remaining, actually 4 laps once they complete this lap. Huffaker, the green comes out early, and he was rolling into it. He wanted to make sure he had a little bit of that mojo going, and the problem is, of course, for Ermish, he couldn't pass that car until the green came out. And look who is right now on their 6th, the 57. Now he's a lap down, just going to be playing his way through here, but Ermish has the opportunity, but boy, Huffaker got a restart. That was perfectly executed by Joe.
Yeah, timed it exactly where he needed to be, pulled right away. No advantage for Troy Ermish in that Nissan 510.
Boy, once they got that number 57 of Nigel Serino in the pits and worked on it, that car is quick. And he's going to just, again, he's a lap or more down right now to Ermish, so Ermish doesn't have to worry about him too much. The car Ermish is going to be watching in his mirrors is that black Mazda.
Yeah, he's going to be careful of that. That MX-5 right behind him in 3rd place. Ermish does not want to start battling here with Nigel and affect that 2nd position and let Joe Huffaker pull away or let Goodall come in and close in that gap.
Yeah, but Ermish, he doesn't want to let that 57 of Nigel Serino get around him because he wants to be able to focus on that rear deck of Huffaker just in case he's got either the speed or Huffaker has some sort of an issue to be able to close him down. He doesn't want another car in between the two of them.
Yeah, that's going to be devastating for him. Or you could play that strategy. Maybe I don't let him go. Ooh. Oh, Ermish get a big wiggle coming down the corkscrew, but hey, maybe let him go. Maybe he'll battle with Huffaker and slow Huffaker up a little bit. We'll have to see if he's faster. I'd let him go, and maybe that might happen.
Well, Ermish certainly trying, getting that back end rotating around. He knows this is the time. And right now, down into turn number 11. One more lap in the books, completing lap number 17. And means 3 to go. And Ermish, boy, using up every piece of racetrack right now just trying to have any kind of an answer for Joe Huffaker. But the problem is Huffaker just turned a 142.1 and Ermisch a 142.6, so half a second gap right there.
Yeah, and you see Ermisch kind of defending a little bit there to the inside. Not what you need to do. You don't need to worry about that car. But
that's exactly right. Yeah, I mean, just as you said, let him go, drive the fastest line. You're defending to a guy who's down a number of laps.
And that could be where he likes to have his car through that corner too.
Maybe.
That Nissan 510 might be working right through that point. Maybe that's where his line is through turn number 2.
Well, and that's true. There is a variety of approaches to that corner that you see throughout the course of a weekend. It's just a matter of what suits the car and what suits you. I mean, you know, some drivers just like to approach corners differently. Looks like 57 and Nigel might be dropping off a little bit, struggling again. He had that problem. You can fix it. Maybe if it's an intermittent miss, it may have come back.
Or maybe just know that these guys are battling for a national championship. I'm already out of it. I'm just going to let them go. So I got to think that's probably what this is. And just a good heads-up driving from him, and you know, good shout-out to that.
Yeah, last lap, Gooddale, though, you know, the problem for Gooddale is he's not able to match it. He's about a second and a half off the pace right now of Ermisch, who's that half second off of Huffaker, so things are starting to settle just a little bit right now. Ermisch giving it everything he possibly can, but right now, Joe Huffaker, that Mini, when it's out front and there's nobody in front to steal the momentum away from it, that's a tough car to slow down.
Yeah, no doubt about that. I think the only thing you can pray for now, completing lap number 18, is going to be a mechanical problem. You don't want to wish that on any of your competitors because, yeah, this is not professional racing. You don't get big checks at the end of this. You're not going to set your career right now and say, hey, I'm going to be a pro racer. So you're a family. And Joe Huffaker, one of the staples in SCCA and the Runoffs history, and you know, he wants what's best for the whole class and getting this developed, and you want to see your family member do good here.
And plus, you just want to win it clean. You know, you want to win it on merit, and you know, you take the wins when it you know, is a bit of misfortune that befalls somebody else, but you'd rather not see that happen. And quite honestly, how often do we see mechanical issues on a Huffaker Prep car? That's a pretty rare occurrence in and of itself.
Yeah, Kent Prather still battling there. That Mazda Miata doing a great job. Oh, way off to the right side.
Chris Dudson really running it wide. That's the battle for fifth now with the issues that we've had from some of the other cars. Prather up into fifth with Dudson right there in sixth. I mean, you can see the pressure, and then that bright green number 61 of Noel Hayward right in the mix.
Yeah, and Lopeshire just sets his fastest lap in that Nissan right behind him. So this is a big battle here with all these guys going back and forth, and that's already that Toyota Tercel back in the 8th position of Roy Lopeshire Jr.
Yeah, fantastic. Hey, got to ask you real quick. To me right now, I think for me, the GoPro Hero Move of the Race Award would go to Huffaker for that threading the needle coming up on that lap car and splitting those guys into the corkscrew. That was a pretty huge, move to be able to figure that one out.
Yeah, it sure was. That looked a little sketchy, a little scary there. Kind of caught me in my tracks. I was like, whoa, okay, that was good. But yeah, that's it could be a hero move winning that GoPro Hero camera.
And there's Prather again. 350,006 miles, 8 miles. That's just amazing what's going on here. Here we go, final lap, 1 to go here in our run to the gold in GT Lite. And right now, the man in the catbird seat, and it's that little mini of Joe Huffaker. What a day he's had, what a week, really.
Yeah, good job there, gets his 13th pole position, trying to win another national championships in this GTL category. He's won the GT5 category in this car. It returns back to the West Coast after 46 years. He's able to step back behind the wheel and try to clinch another SCCA national championship.
Yeah, boy, that's amazing. 13 tire rack poles. That's impressive stuff as he now feeds it through turn 5, just keeping that momentum alive. Using up as much road as he can, up into this very tricky turn 6. Very abrupt angles and turn in here. Down that little bit of compression. The car just wants to bounce off to the outside of the track. Settles it in, up into the corkscrew. As far off to the left as you can to line up here, straighten that brake zone up as much as you can, and then fall off the planet. Down the hill you go.
He has 8 national championship, runoff championships right now, trying to make it number 9. 2 corners left. Come down into turn number 10, into turn number 11. You said it's been a slot car all race long, shooting sparks as he comes through turn number 10 into the braking zone of 11. And yep, that slot cars, they do that.
Absolutely, yeah. 5 of those championships in F production, 3 in GT5, and now he's going to add that 9th in GT Lite. The checker flies, and Joe Huffaker in the Huffaker Engineering Mini Cooper. And boy, that is an amazing run, but that car, I mean, everything about this package, Huffaker as a driver, the prep on the car, the way the car works is superb. And here's that battle for 5th. Is Kent Prather going to hang on? And yes, he does. He will get that 5th spot just behind Pete Zeckert. So a great run there. And oh, an absolute almost photo finish at the line for 6th with the 73 of Chris Dutzen hanging on over Noel Hayward by about a fender's length. That's impressive stuff. And again, it, may not always be for the lead, but we will find some amazing battles unfolding at the SCCA Runoffs, regardless of the category. There's the number 95 of Tim Linnerud bringing it around. That will be a 12th place finish. And, that's a car, I'll guarantee you, that machine started as an ITB car back in the day. And it's still alive in SCCA competition because the rules allow it, and that is very special.
There's Kent Prather just happy. Look at that wave in there. He got a top 5 for him this weekend, and probably the biggest smile. He's a race winner here today.
Oh, absolutely. His son Jesse is going to be racing himself, and in E-production later. And also, Jesse is a prep guru, getting cars prepped and everything, so it's absolutely fantastic. And we just received word again after consultation. Here comes Ermish coming up to say congratulations to Joe Huffaker. Confirmation that for that GoPro Hero Move of the Race Award, it will go to Joe Huffaker for that crazy move up into the corkscrew. So good day for Joe.
That was a great suggestion for that move that you made on that GoPro Hero camera, and they gave that to him. So good job for you there, Mr. Creamer.
Wow, thank you, sir. Thank you very much. So down into the pits he comes, and that means he is going to be heading to one Hayward Wagner in just a moment. So we'll get word. Boy, look at him celebrating in that car. And that's the classic thing about Joe. That was a thanks and a thumbs up to the fire marshals in the pit lane. He understands this is a volunteer deal, and they're all here so that he can come out, and all of the competitors here can come out and enjoy their passion of driving these cars. Believe me, these volunteers, folks, they are immense fans of the sport. It's just as passionate. It's just not that they're behind the wheel driving. And Joe is. He brings that really, really trick Mini down into pit lane. The crew leaning in there, giving him a little help and getting the window net undone and getting him a little bit of a glass of water. I think Hayward's ready. As soon as Joe peels that helmet off and gets that collar off, and it's nice to see. He said, I may have to knock some rust off this year to be able to pull this off. Yeah, I don't see a whole lot of rust in that drive that he just put together as he's trying to get that helmet peeled off here. Boy, it's a tight squeeze in that Mini. And you have to understand that Joe is about 6'12", and he sits in where the back seat of that Mini would normally be. Unbelievable stuff. And pulling that balaclava off, well-earned drink of water. And Hayward, I think you're ready.
Ready to go indeed. Joe Huffaker, no stranger to victory lane. Talk a little bit about this race.
Totally expected at the start. Big horsepower, big torque cars. And they got around me up there, but I knew I had sticky tires, so I went into 2 and just kind of broadened myself a bit. Got my 3rd place back, and I just kind of hung on. Troy took off, I took off, and all we wanted to do is get away from Sereno, and kind of I thought the Honda would come, but that's fine by me. Me and Troy just took off, and I didn't want to interrupt anything till late in the race. Well, halfway through his time, I saw a little mistake, so I jumped by, and I thought, then I saw a Honda, then I saw Troy, and then I saw distance. All good.
Well, a great drive. We're going to get a gold medal here around your neck. Joe, you're from California. Your dad raced at Riverside. Tell us what it means to win the runoffs here in California.
Well, it's unbelievable. Winning the race here at Mazda Speedway, Laguna Seca, it's like it's a dream for the runoffs come true. So we look forward to more of this.
Excellent. We're going to get the gold medal around your neck. Find our 2nd and 3rd place finishers. 2nd spot, Troy Ermish driving the Datsun 510 with the Nissan stickers on it. Troy, we're looking for Troy. Walking down the pit lane here. Troy Ermish, Troy, you had a great start to this race. Looked like you really got off the line well. Held a lead for a while, but you had that pesky little black Mini right behind you. Talk to me about those laps holding the lead.
Well, I'd like to thank Kent Stacy, LS Energy Corp for coming on board. 510 Parts Outlet. We got the only tin top probably out here. But, you know, I think some of my stock car experience helped me on that start and squeeze my way through. And I watched Joe. I think he was trying to size me up and he was moving around. I had to just kind of take a conservative line in a couple of corners, and he dove underneath me in the corkscrew. And, you know, we just had to use discretion there and see if I could get him back and wait the tires cool off a little and make a run at him again.
Well, a great drive for you in the 510. Congratulations on a second spot. We're going to find Jonathan Goodale next. Jonathan driving the MX-5. Jonathan, can we talk to you for just a second?
Absolutely. Waited my whole life for this.
Third place finisher, first Runoffs podium, is that correct?
Yes. Yeah.
Talk a little bit about the drive.
Oh, it's been a tough week. I didn't meet sound on Monday, so I had to build a whole new exhaust for the car. Fought a little braking issue, but it was just I gotta thank Mazda and Hoosier. Mazda brought in Kenton Cook this week to do a driver coach, invaluable. I just hit my marks every time, and that's all I could do. You know, great event. So excited.
Talk to me about the restart. You were a little bit behind the pack, the leaders coming into the restart. Everybody packed back up. Did you feel like you had a shot there to advance?
I thought I could maybe get second, but I had a couple lap cars ahead of me, you know, and I knew that was going to kind of affect it. And one of them raced me in through 2 and in through 3 before I finally got around them and got going. So I got a little bit of gap there that I just couldn't make up in the last couple laps.
All right, well, congratulations to you on your first podium. We're going to take it back upstairs to Greg.
Thanks very much, Hayward. And indeed, you know, this is one of the great stories here. Jonathan Goodale right there, as we said, you know, super sweep eligible, didn't quite get that. His best finish was at Road America in 2012 of 4th. This was his 13th runoff start. Finally gets that podium. I mean, how sweet is that? That's absolutely fantastic. And for Troy Ermish, he's one of the guys that's got the big R after his first ever runoffs, and brings it home with a silver medal. I mean, that's incredible. This guy, yes, he was the class of the field today, but you take a look at the rest of that podium, Jeff. Some absolutely wonderful stories. That this is what these guys live for. You could hear that's what Goodale said. Been waiting my whole life for this.
Yeah, whole life to get that podium. This is his Super Bowl. He's just clinched it. He's won it. No matter where he would have finished, I think that's what he did. And Joe Huffaker breaks the tie that he had with 5th place finishers Kent Prather. Yep. 9 national championships as he stands alone there. And look at all the course workers out here on the side. The local racer grew up at these racetracks, running at Mazda Raceway, Laguna Seca, Sonoma Raceway, all around the track, and 9th national champion.
And here's a look at our unofficial race results in GTL. Joe Huffaker, as you said, getting that 9th gold medal. Fantastic. Troy Ermish, his first ever as a rookie, picks up a silver. Jonathan Goodale, his 13th start in the runoffs, gets his first medal for 3rd. Pete Zeckert, a longtime competitor as well, with a good 4th. Kent Prather, you know, one of the legends, and fought his way up into that 5th spot. Fantastic run. Chris Dootson in 6th. Noel Hayward in 7th spot. Roy Lopshire up into 8th. 9th, and number 46 of Joe Harlan, and completing our top 10, Christopher Copley.
Yeah, good run from all of our GTL category cars, and you mentioned that was the closest finish in runoffs history last year, and it was a great show they put on here today at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca for our GT Lite.
Boy, wasn't it absolutely superb run. I hope you enjoyed it. Here is it's brought to you in HD by Mazda as Joe Huffaker completes that lap of honor. Now, you know, you might think I get to go celebrate with the crew. Yeah, no. He's fielding a number of different cars here, and he'll be running again as well. So the work continues, but they do love it, as do we, being here at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca. That's the GT Lite Run to the Gold at the 2014 SCCA National Championship Runoffs. Once again, for Jeff Lepper and for Haywood Wagner, I'm Greg Creamer. Thanks so much for joining us. It was special. The 2014 SCCA National Championship Runoffs are being brought to you in HD by Mazda. Conviction, creativity, courage. This is the Mazda way. And by Hankook, driving emotion.
Some people go to enormous lengths in the name of safety, like the inventor of the flame-resistant racing suit, Bill Simpson. Courageous engineering is also the Mazda way, and why the 2014 Mazda 3 has an available class-exclusive suite of 8 safety features and a top safety rating. Because when it comes to safety, you can never go too far. This is the 2014 Mazda 3. What do you drive?
This is Kenny. Kenny is a dentist, but he races autocross on the weekends. But he's not thinking about his tires right now. Kenny buys all his tires from TireRack.com. Using their exclusive test track reviews, he knows he's always getting the right tires for his car. But Kenny's not thinking about tires right now. Kenny's thinking, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man. This is awesome. TireRack.com, proud sponsor of the Tire Rack SCCA National Solo Program.
The machines and their manufacturers span the planet. This is no spec series. Diversity breeds excellence and brings battle. Ride with the best and test the iconic circuits of North America. No pit stops,